Oh yeah, it is time. It is time to go back in time. That's right. We're going back in time in the 90s. That's right. Very similar to the 80s where the action movies were action movies. Ain't nobody gave a fuck about offending people. No, this is to make a fun popcorn action movie. Explosions, people getting kicked in the head, stabbings, flying, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Get your popcorn, pizza, beer, go to the movies, let's have a good time. Comedy, all that good stuff. And we got two great picks from Rick Myers. He's on a roll for this week's episode.
It's from me.
Oh, that's right. Frank took it. Frank took it. All right, nice. Again, thank you, Frank. But yeah, great suggestion for this week's Versus episode, the 18th episode. Woohoo!
Woo.
We're knocking it out of the park. And today we have we got the Kung Fu Avengers here. That's right. We got Kung Fu Santa Rick Myers back again, representing. That's right. Go out and buy his books, Films of Fury. That's right. Represent Badassity. And of course, the master of remaster, Frank Jang, in the house. That's right. Yeah, there you go. Representing. That's right. And buy everything Eureka related. All the Eureka products, yes. And don't forget, Time and Tide is available. It is badass. Make sure you guys check that out as well. Make sure you purchase that. Links to everybody's info is in the description box below, so you go straight to the Eureka website. And we got another legend here. We got Master Chaos up in here in the house, director of Blood Brothers. That's right. That's how we do it. And for the first time on Versus episode today, we got Frankie Pozos. That's right. Actor. That's right, actor. That's right. You can find him in the film An Hour to Kill. That's right. And you can watch that. You can watch that for free on YouTube. Yeah,
I love the Rocketeer in the background, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, all right, let's see who was here. Who was in the Movie Dojo Army showing up today? We got Phat.18 in the house. That's right. Jad, what's going on? Lady Danis, Jason in the house. Trey Doe, Heather Love, Nigel, all the badassities are showing up right here. But we got two classics, and man, this is, we've been on a roll every week. It's been ridiculously hard. And I went in, I was like, all right, I already know what I'm going to choose. This is really hard, but I know. And then I rewatched both of them today, and I was like, so I have to see what you guys have to say first, and then we will vote at the end. So Frankie, we vote at the end. So what we do here is we can talk spoilers. We talk about the positives or if there's any negatives of each film, right? Okay. And then at the end we'll vote. Okay. So that's how it works here on Versus. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting. What's going on, Crystal? Crystal's in the house. But yeah, 1995. Oh, excuse me, 6. I almost said 5. 1996. The Rock, directed by Michael Bay. And you know what's interesting about both of these films? A lot of people say The Rock is Michael Bay's best action film, and Con Air is Simon Wes's best action movie. So this is really interesting. And both movies, great soundtracks, rocking. You got the you got the guitar in there because it's 90s, son. Represent, right? And both movies, great villains, great cast. So this is going to be interesting. But Rick, if you can do the plot synopsis, get us started for The Rock.
I'm also going to say to start off something all of us missed. This is not just a Versus episode. You know what the subtitle of this Versus episode is? Cage match. It's a cage match. No, I never picked that up until this. But anyway, here's the plot. The Rock. This is a Michael Bay movie. He was the Zack Snyder of his time. Everything stays the same. In other words, for all things that different, things stay the same. If you watch Army of the Dead, it's basically the 2021 The Rock. Because you know who the villain in The Rock is? It's the U.S. government. The whole plot is predicated on the fact that the U.S. government won't take care of retired soldiers and wounded soldiers. So this general goes mad and gets a bunch of germ warfare missiles and threatens to attack San Francisco with it, which of course is the stupidest thing he could do because politicians don't give a shit about human beings. what he should have done is he should have gone, I've got a bunch of germ warfare missiles, and I'm going to shoot it into you, politicians, not innocent people, but in any case.
Yeah.
So this little low-grade FBI agent, Goodfellow is his name, very well named, I suppose, played by Nicolas Cage, finds out about this other, not illegally, but wrongfully imprisoned military guy played by Sean Connery, and I'm wearing my Sean Connery James Bond shirt. When we come back on the clip, take a look at my fabulous Sean Connery James Bond.
Love it.
all the Japanese Sean Connery James Bond posters.
That's cool.
That's a cool shirt.
It is
That's really awesome.
That's pretty cool.
But in any case, so he finds out that this guy, Sean Connery, who was wrongfully imprisoned because he stole he took all of J. Edgar Hoover's secrets, but he's keeping him. He's not giving them to the government because he knows as soon as he does, they'll kill him. So he's staying incarcerated. But he knows more about the underground, underneath Alcatraz. He knows more than even Clint Eastwood, who escaped from Alcatraz. And so Goodfellow and the Sean Connery character go in, and all these military guys are just betraying each other, and the politicians are all betraying each other, and the FBI is betraying everybody. And so that's what the whole plot is about. And again, it's just like Zack Snyder in the 90s.
All right. Well said. Well done. All right. Before we go to you, Frankie, about tell us what you think about the film, I'll go ahead and get me out of the way. So saw this in theater. I was the perfect age for it. And me and my buddies enjoyed it. We had a great time. A lot of action. I'm always a fan of Sean Connery. Wasn't a big fan of Nicolas Cage yet. I was still kind of new to him. Once I saw more of his work later, he started to grow on me, especially around Face Off time and in other movies. But I didn't really, I wasn't that well versed yet because I was young, and had a blast. The story was good, the soundtrack was great, and it's funny you say he's the Zack Snyder of the '90s, Rick, because Hans Zimmer helped do the score for this movie, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Was this Frank? We got Frank and we got Frankie. Frank,
okay.
Was this the movie that gave us the first Michael Bay shot?
Ooh.
The trademark Michael Bay shot where Nicolas Cage gets out of the car.
I thought Bad Boy was the first one.
Bad
Bad Boy was the first one.
Okay, so Bad Boys was before this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Bad Boys did it first.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that just became a Michael Bay trope later. He just kept using it for fun. That's his style. It's a Bayism. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, you gotta love the Michael Bay shots in the slow motion. But I enjoyed the film. Negatives, I love the cheesy one-liners, man. I'm from the '80s, so I love the cheesy one-liners. I love it. Some of them, not all of them, hold up. I mean, did we really during the car chase, which I enjoyed that car chase in the film. I enjoyed that. But during the car chase, when the cops, the FBI agents flew up in the air, did we need Sean Connery to stop from driving and go, "I hope you're insured"? I mean, there's some of the cheesy lines I'm all for. I'm all for the cheesy lines, and we'll get the cheesy lines with the next movie. But I don't know. They could have snipped. I'm being nitpicky now, but I mean,
winners talk about doing their best. Losers, losers talk about doing their best.
That's right.
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Yeah, that's actually a good line. I like that line. But yeah, I mean, I can't really think of anything horrible. I guess Rick kind of pointed it out. It wasn't really the smartest planning from Ed Harris, but Ed Harris, what a great actor that guy is, man. I have so much respect for that guy. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe some more negatives might come around to me later when we go around the circle. But as of right now, it's just a fun, action-packed, slow motion popcorn fest. You got, the comedic moments with Nicolas Cage flipping out like he usually does, and him and Sean Connery played off of each other really well. So I was entertained. I've always enjoyed this film. All right, Frankie, positives and negatives of The Rock. Go ahead.
Well, I have to say, I love this film since I was a kid when I saw it in theaters, eating my nachos. I could even smell I was 2 years old? No, I was born in 1984, dude. Come on.
Just kidding.
That's a tiny little guy. Yeah. No, but yeah, I love the film. I don't see any really negative things except for it's a cheesy Michael Bay film, really. But I mean, I love the character actors. This is like a murderer's row of every guy, like guys that are just like that guy in that movie, you know, from William Forsythe to David Morse. Like, what? That guy's in it? Whoa. And then you got the fucking Candyman in the goddamn movie. So like that's badass. And I love the kind of fake out with Michael Biehn and his team where you're like, oh, now they got it, they got it under control, and then they get fucking wiped out. Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck? And I love that whole feeling there. Sean Connery's awesome, and I love it's almost a pseudo sequel. Like he's almost James Bond. You can imagine he's James Bond, and this is a continuation of his story because he got caught. That's the deal. I don't know.
British intelligence.
Yes, exactly. And then Nicolas Cage. This is his first real outing as a great action star, and which would lead to all these other films instead of being a dramatic darling, pretty much. So I love it, man.
Money penny. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up again, Frankie. This scene here is one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it was so dramatic, and it was just like, fuck, man. Like this was like the shit got real. This whole scene, this is a great sequence, and you gotta love Michael Biehn, man.
Oh,
great sequence, very great sequence.
I
know, right? I know.
He gets killed and everything.
I know he gets killed and everything. All right, Chaos, The Rock.
Well, I'll say this: I think The Rock is the last great action picture. Everything from the gunfire to the collateral damage. So I mean, even the semi goofy plot. At least it's taken seriously, and it's delivered in a way that's again. I go back to Die Hard. Die Hard is sort of my template as an action picture, and this is. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, wow, this looks like Die Hard in a prison. This should be good. And you got fucking James Bond in it. So I was all good to go. And so when I saw this in theaters, I was blown the fuck away. I could not believe it. I've probably seen this movie like 50 times. It is the most, I wouldn't say the most, but it's right up there with Hard Boiled and Die Hard as the most action-packed movie ever made. Almost every scene has some kind of stunt. And this is before, Michael Bay had his thing, before he had his touch. So it wasn't cliche at the time. It was just like, oh, wow, that's a badass shot. I love the fact, something I hate about modern movies is that gunfire doesn't feel real. Here, gunfire feels real, and it's loud, and it's dangerous. And I love that, because that's part of the fun. Like you see the fire explosions and people getting hit, and there's, collateral damage is such an important part of an action sequence. I was just rewatching The Killer, and almost every gunshot is paid off with some kind of collateral damage, and that is so rewarding and so fun to watch. And you actually feel for the characters. You worry about them. You don't want them to get hurt because it feels real. And I'll talk about realism when we get to Con Air, but The Rock for me is just an overall solid ass movie, and I was impressed that Nicolas Cage actually pulled off not only an action hero, but a believable action hero. And that's sometimes, that's going back to Die Hard. That's the Bruce Willis, the everyman. He wasn't the muscular dude who could punch a guy through the wall. He was an everyman, and he struggled. He earned his victory, and that is something we don't get in movies today. Now John Wick can get into a room with 40 guys and just walk out like nothing happened. And that doesn't work for me. But to me,
John Wick.
Rock is right. And we'll get into John Wick some other day. But I have a whole John Wick doesn't make any sense thing. But to me, The Rock is a solid action picture, and I think it's right up there with some of the greats. You can look past the silly plot and the rockets. That's fine. It's a movie. You kind of have to let it go with some silliness in the plot. Yeah. But just the way it was directed, when the SWAT team got taken out, and you're like, holy shit, well, game over, man. There's so much in this movie. It's constantly exciting. You're constantly on the edge of your seat. It is a masterpiece, and I love it. I love it very much. And I think the way I'm voting.
All right, Con Air, baby, Con Air. All right, yes. Frank.
To me, The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off is the Nicolas Cage masterpiece trilogy.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a doubt, action masterpiece trilogy. And The Rock is almost like and I have to say I'm a big Michael Bay fan. I know the detractors, there's detractors. I personally actually love the last two Transformers movie. I think they're very very well done. I mean, plot wise it could be dumb, it might be a little bit juvenile, but I mean the technical merits of them are amazing. I especially like the Last Night a lot. I think that was very well done from a technical perspective and also from a story perspective.
Underground 6, Frank?
Yeah, that one too. That one was good. No, that whole opening sequence. No, that whole opening sequence. That's amazing.
So technically,
technically, I'm talking about technical stuff. No. And also for the
You're off the panel, man. You're off the panel.
No, the Last Night. What I like about the Last Night. I know we're steering off a little bit, but I have to point it out. What I like about the Last Night is you have these two completely different story elements. Like you had this one story. And in the middle, he switched all the way to the UK side with that lady and all that jazz. And then they all came together at the final 10, 20 minutes. I thought that was very, very well done. Anyway, so yeah, criticize you all you want afterwards. But anyway,
I would have picked that military film he made.
13 hours.
I actually liked that one.
Hours. Yes,
13 hours.
Yeah, that was great.
That is a great film. Yes, that is a great film. So anyway, going back to The Rock. I mean. So to me, The Rock is like, what happens when James Bond escaped from jail and got himself a sidekick? And that's that is The Rock, right? And action scenes terrific. Connery was great, fantastic. Never lose a beat. Nicolas Cage, right? And at first you couldn't, you didn't think of him as a good action hero, but here, he kind of proved that he could do action as well as your typical Schwarzenegger or Bruce Willis, what have you. You ended up really caring for him. Caring about what he's going to do, whether he get out alive. I like the setting, of course. Me being in the Bay Area, I love seeing all these San Francisco locations. Love seeing cable cars getting blown up, and like the humor. I like the humor a lot. Like the banter between them. Like the Palm Queen line, and I also like how at the very least I understand that little scene with Sean Connery and his daughter was Connery's idea to put it in.
Oh,
yeah, I believe so, because he felt that there needs to be some kind of something to attract the lady, so to speak. So that's why they had that little scene, at the Palace of Fine Arts, and I thought that was nice. The climax good, the climactic the whole final battle scene was good. If there's any nitpicks, I felt there were two nitpicks. One was the bad. Ed Harris is fantastic, obviously, but his fellow compadres, to me, is kind of like your typical stock character bad guy, especially near the end, final scene. Right, like this guy. Yeah, exactly. He'll put down a gun and fight Nicolas Cage. Yeah, bad idea, right? I mean, so there's all these little dumb things that they do that it kind of took me out just a little bit. And I felt that like Ed Harris is such a smart guy, such a smart military guy. But somehow he had some of his fellow men were not as intelligent or as smart as they should be. And also didn't like the FBI side, where for the FBI folks, all you have is just you get your typical guy sitting in this room looking at monitors and screen and stuff. That to me, that's always kind of like a deterrent to me. And I thought that could have been maybe better done. It could have been done better. But overall, yeah, that's a classic action film from Michael Bay, and I think. And yeah, even though Bad Boys came before this, I think this was the movie that kind of put those so-called Michael Bay shots in, and really, it really established those Michael Bay shots, which he'll do even better in subsequent films. And yeah, definitely an action classic.
Nice.
There you go. Well, I always knew Nicolas Cage was an action star because I saw Raising Arizona, and that was like 10 years beforehand. And he also did Moonstruck. So, he was up for anything that, I mean, if you look at his early career before he completely lost his mind, he's really extraordinary. And also this gives a good example of what it's like when you see a movie. I mean, I'm older than all of you put together. And my first adult movie was Dr. No. So I loved Sean Connery. I saw everything that Sean Connery did. And my biggest criticism of this film relates to that to the fact that I was as old as I was, and we'll get to that because it has to do with the ending. In fact, I was loving this movie up until the very last line of dialogue. But in any case, let me give a little background. Connery, by the way, the reason that Connery could say he wants that scene in is he was a producer on this movie. He also produced the movie, and also Michael Bay wasn't taking any chances. Everybody who was in Hollywood wrote this. I mean, they were having arbitration discussions all throughout it. Michael Bay was teamed up with one of the guys who didn't get credit on the film. Meanwhile, Quentin Tarantino worked on this film. Aaron Sorkin worked on this film.
Wow.
Sean Connery brought in two fairly famed writers in England, and I was going to say they were comedy writers, but in England, everybody does everything. If you're in show business in England, you do dramas, you do comedy, you do everything. And so Ian LaFreniere and Dick Clement came in to punch up Connery's lines, but they wound up rewriting most of the movie anyway. So all these great lines, if I'm sure that people at the Writers Guild were watching this movie, and when they heard a line, they would go, "Oh yeah, that's Ian. Oh yeah, that's Aaron. Oh yeah, that's Quentin." So they had their pick of the best lines in terms of editing and the rest of it. So that worked out great. Another thing that I was amazed by, these two movies that we're doing today are essentially the same movies. Now, I do the podcast Action Film Autopsy. So the first thing I wanted to know, I was going to try to differentiate these movies from how the action is done. Guess what? The stunt coordinator was the same on both movies. It was Kenny Bates. Kenny Bates did both The Rock and Con Air. So again, it's kind of like it's like they said, let's get the band back together. Everybody but the director and the writer. Come on back for this movie the following year. And we'll just do the same thing over again because it was so successful. And if you check their international returns, they made about the same amount of money, and they had about the same budget. It was $75 million, and they made $300 million worldwide, pretty much for both of them. So anyway, I'm enjoying this movie enormously. And remember, my very first adult film that I ever saw was Dr. No. And when did Dr. No come out? That was 1962. In England, I believe it was 1963 here. Something happened in 1963 that I personally will never forget and had a very strong effect on me. I was in whatever grammar school or whatever kindergarten, and we're interrupted by the principal saying, "President Kennedy has just been shot." And we're all like, this was still in the 60s where, we had not grown up during World War II. So I was lucky. I wasn't even really that much aware of the Korean War, but this was the first boom. And so ever since then, it was kind of like, I hate injustice. I don't like movies with injustice. I don't like reality with injustice. So this movie gets to the end. And do you remember what the last line was?
Want to see who killed JFK, right?
Hey, hun, you want to know who really killed JFK? Yeah.
And that puts such a sour. They're using Kennedy's assassination as a punchline, literally a punchline. And I just went, wow, that's how far we've come. That it's a joke now. And so I just sort of went, oh. So that's my final word on that. But we still don't know who I'm going to vote for.
Okay.
What happens?
All right. But yeah, overall, The Rock is a great time.
It's a great time.
Chaos said it well. The action was dope. The comedy, everything is there, man. Everything is there. And it's not just action. We get dramatic moments. And like Chaos said, you actually care about the characters. And bringing it back to the Everman action star is fun. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a nerd. He's a nerd.
Well, by the way, there's a great story that, of course, Bay was having trouble with the studio, and they were calling him in for a big meeting, and Sean Connery thought they were going to go golfing, And so he comes up to Bay and he goes, you're coming, because he's dressed in all his golf stuff. He goes, no, I gotta go talk to the studio. And so Connery went, okay. They go to the studio, the door opens, and the studio guys are about to rip Michael Bay a new one. There's Connery behind him.
Oh, wow.
Connery goes, he's doing great. Let him do it. And then, oh, fine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go and do whatever you want. So I think Connery was one of the reasons this movie turned out so well.
Yeah, I heard that story before too. Yeah. This kid is doing a fucking amazing job.
Rick, when do you think Connery first started to play these older type of not father figure, but kind of like I got a young buck with me, kind of like was it Highlander? Maybe was he kind of started to play those roles, where he had the wisdom, and he was training the young one.
No, Connery was just salt of the earth. I mean, he was after Bond. Basically, his attitude is all bets are off. I'm going to do whatever the F I want to feel good. I mean, Zardoz.
Zardoz.
Just having fun. And then it's just a tragedy, for me at any rate, that at the end of his career, he didn't understand. I mean, he was offered Lord of the Rings, and he just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I know. That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. Sean Connery as Gandalf. You shall not pass. I don't know. But he's the man. And but now we're gonna go to the next movie. Frank, Con Air, plot synopsis. Take us back.
All right.
1997.
1997. So this was made a year after The Rock, and we have just paroled Army Ranger Cameron Poe, played by Nicolas Cage, heading back to his wife. But he must fly home aboard this, prison transport flight called Con Air, or dubbed Jailbird, I believe, in the film, where some of the worst criminals ever, appear on screen. You have, Diamond Dog, played by Ving Rhames. You have Baby O, Michaela Williamson. You have, Steve Buscemi, child molester. You have Dave Chappelle, and of course, you have genius serial killer Cyrus the Virus, played by John Malkovich, who unleashes his violent escape pod in mid-flight. So now, Poe, secretly working with U.S. Marshal, played by John Cusack, must try to screw up Grisham's plan and stop Con Air from, stop him from accomplishing his plan and get Con Air back down to the ground.
Frank, let me just quickly interrupt, because you have to establish the opening. Nicolas Cage was unjustly imprisoned. He's not a criminal like these guys. He was defending his wife in a fight, and it just through more governmental bull, he won on this thing, and he completely doesn't deserve to be.
How do I know? Okay, right.
No. I'll take it. That's fine. Whatever.
I have to get into my Con Air shirt now.
Yeah. Welcome to Con Air.
Have some like sexy saxophone music or something every time.
Oh, come on, do it my age. Da, da, da.
Oh yeah.
Who's the dog now?
It is time to get into it. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, wait a minute.
Time. No, well,
all
right.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Con Air. Yes. Malkovich is the shit in this movie. He's great. I really enjoy him. Now, me watching this in the theater was not a good experience. Because right in the midway of the film, the whole power went out.
That's no bueno, man.
And they couldn't get the power back on. Luckily, though, so we had to leave. Yeah. So luckily, though, they reimbursed us. Or they gave. I think either they reimbursed us or they gave us like a free pass to come back. So that was, but I was like, God damn it! But that kind of killed it. So I think I ended up just watching it later, like on video. I just ended up renting it later. I was like, it's all right. But I still really, really enjoyed it on video. Had a lot of fun with it. great villains, some comedic moments. You got some early Dave Chappelle up in here, y'all. You got some Dave Chappelle show, Chappelle show. Oh, yeah. And just a great, memorable cast, and I enjoyed the action, and it was just a fun time. I mean, you gotta love the I'm gonna save the fucking day. I mean, come on, you got the tons of cheesy one-liners in here. They just don't make them like they used to. They just don't do it anymore, you know. But I just had a blast with this. Negatives, this might be a little controversial. This is a nitpick. He's a good actor. He acted well in this movie. He is fine in this movie. But not really a big fan of the sack.
The sack.
Not a big fan of the sack. I don't hate the sack. Like I said, he's a good actor. He's good in this movie. I just don't see him in this type of film. It's just weird for me. Now, Gross Point Blank, yeah, he's kickboxing Benny the Jet Urquidez. Yeah, he's shooting against popcorn, shooting against Dan Aykroyd, right? But it's a comedy, so it's fine. But in this movie, when we got Cyrus the fucking virus, you know, I don't know. He just felt out of place. It felt like he came in from another movie. Like I said, I'm fine with him in the movie. He doesn't ruin the movie for me. Just something felt odd that the sack was there. I don't know. Something felt. I was waiting for him to run out of the building and hold up a big radio above his head. I don't know. That's just me being nitpicky, though. Other than that, though, very entertaining, very enjoyable film. I like it a lot. Frankie, Con Air.
Well, I mean, I love the film. It's a great one. I mean, wait, you didn't like John Cusack wearing socks with sandals and stuff? Didn't he have that on in that movie? Is that what got you? I'm just weird. No, it's a weird thing. No, I mean, I love this. But I mean, I love it. It's filled with a bunch of other great character actors, Murderers Row of badasses and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a little more cheesier than The Rock, I would have to say, but it's still fun cheese. It's not that shitty cheese that people are now saying that it's good cheese, and I fucking hate that. Like, come on, man, this is good. It's put together. It makes fucking sense, you know? That's what I like about it. I'm wearing my Con Air shirt, so that's the deal there. Yeah. So, I mean, I love it. There's no real negative. I mean, yes, like the idea that he goes to jail is still kind of like he could. I mean, he is a former ranger. He's a ranger, like a military man. It doesn't make any sense. He goes directly to jail. I don't understand that. Even though he murdered some guys that started some shit, you know. I don't know, but
he didn't murder him. He killed him. He just defended.
Yeah, he killed him.
He didn't.
Yeah, he's defended himself, and he's a war hero. I mean, he's a hero. It doesn't. Okay. I'm gonna allow that to go, but then my only nitpick that I still find is hilarious when he says, you know, like when he charges and he gets shot in his arm and never reacts that he ever got shot in his arm through the whole movie after that. I mean, that's my little issue there, but I mean, he's Cameron Poe. You can't fuck with him, so I love it. It's a fun one, and and you know, the beautiful song, the ballad in the end.
No.
Come on, it's amazing. How do I
It fits the movie fine. I'll take it.
Yes.
Whatever.
And then July 14th. Come on, that's awesome. It's Con Air Day.
Did you see it? You did see it in theater though?
Oh yes, of course.
Oh, nice,
of course.
nice. Chaos. Before you go, we got a Bo here. Thanks for the donation, Bo, helping out the channel. Con Air was the second movie I ever saw in the theaters. Unfortunately, the Flintstones was the first.
Oh,
I feel your pain, Bo. I feel your pain. I saw the Flintstones in the theater also. Yeah, at least it had Halle Berry in it. That was about it. All right, Chaos. Con Air.
It's funny that that he mentions the Flintstones because I feel like these movies are very similar. Con Air to me feels very cartoonish. Now I've been paying attention to the chat and everyone's voting fucking Con Air. No one said anything. Everybody's saying Con Air, Con Air, Con Air. So I'm probably not gonna make any new pals. But here's my opinion. I like Con Air. I think it's a fun movie. Yeah. But it's a cartoon movie. It feels like if like the Coen brothers made an action movie. You know what I mean? Like it has like the cheeseball lines, the super unique, you know, characters that feel like they would honestly you could find them in a Coen brothers movie. And Nicolas Cage sucks in this. I mean,
Oh,
I know.
Hold on.
Fired.
I thought my nitpick
Yeah,
was
no.
controversial with having issues with the sack.
Yeah.
Wow. No,
When
go ahead, brother.
When you said controversial, I thought we were going to be on the same page.
No,
But
go ahead.
The accent was awful. I mean, he sounded like Forrest Gump at times. The whole thing with the bunny, I thought was just stupid.
Well, Bubba Gump is in here.
And he's dead right. He's in it too. So I was like, wow, this is like a spin-off movie.
Bubba, no. Bubba, no. Bubba.
And again, I'm saying this as somebody who enjoys the movie, but I enjoy it on a level like I'm watching like anime. Like this is obviously this is just not real. These actors are, obviously the most Hollywood criminals I've ever seen in my life. SARS the virus, get the fuck out of here. That guy would be raped like immediately in prison. So I don't. It just didn't feel believable to me. And I go back to that.
Yeah.
Die Hard feels believable. That again, that template. Speed feels believable. Jack Traven is a very believable character. The stuff he goes through, that's all very believable. I can buy those situations. I love action that's believable because it feels more realistic. Here, everything felt like I was never worried for anybody. I didn't really care about the fucking bunny. Whatever happened to that, who cares, whatever. I never felt like anybody was in danger. I never felt like this was anything for me to really give a shit about. I had a good time watching the movie, but it's almost like you get, I don't know how to describe it, like you get drunk, and then afterwards you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that again. That's kind of what I felt about.
Right.
That's I know, strong feelings, but you
didn't feel like this.
No.
Okay.
Good dumb face. I mean, and I love Nicolas Cage, but when he does the wind, I'm like, shit, what is this movie? What's happening here? And I like Nicolas Cage, but I think The Rock is the when I stopped following his career.
Was anyone disappointed? Was anyone disappointed that Steve Buscemi did nothing?
No, yeah, he was there.
No, I'm glad he didn't do anything. Because he's a fucking child murderer. Right?
Some people had issues with that. What?
He's a child molester. I don't want him to do anything.
No.
In the movie,
he kills a whole bunch of people. Yeah, that's the crime.
Did you see this in the theaters or did you see this? Okay.
I saw it in theaters. And when I liked it, but I remember walking out thinking, oh, this I was expecting The Rock. I'm like, it's not as good. It's not as good as The Rock. There's something missing.
Fair enough.
I never. Okay, now let me say my negatives. Okay.
Now.
Positives. The cast is cool. It has a really fun cast, and almost everybody like, oh, I know that guy. Oh, I know that guy. I love that. I love the plane landing in Vegas. It's still fucking dumb, but it's like, that's fun. Let's see that happen. And that's it for positives.
All right.
Oh, and I like John Cusack. I think this is John Cusack's best role.
He's just saying that. He just wants to put salt on the wound, man. Hey, that's why this is versus. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm kidding. Right. He's whatever.
Here we go. Bo says, "Ooh, nothing makes me sadder than the agent lost his bladder on the airplane." All right, Frankie, go for it.
Oh man.
Frank.
I'm sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I saw both films in the same theater, 1 year apart, and the audience reaction to this film was so much wilder than the reaction while watching The Rock. To me, this film was a combination of action plus Western plus cult film.
Mm-hmm.
This is really, to me, there's a lot of cult film element here. It's like Master Kel said, he hated the fact that Nicolas Cage talked like that. But I just thought that was kind of part of the movie's charm. It's just so offbeat. It's almost like Nicolas Cage decided, why do I talk like Elvis in this film? And then Simon would say, sure, go ahead. Like something like that, right? And I also felt that I think Simon West learned a lot from The Rock a year earlier. I think he loved what Michael Bay did on The Rock, so he tried to do similar things here, but in some way even make it more hectic, even more kinetic. Like the editing on this film, especially in the last 30 minutes, was just batshit crazy.
Yeah.
All these fast cut, and I'm a big fan of those kind of editing. Some people are like, I can't see anything that's going on. To me, no. I mean, to me, it was very good. It just like somehow heightened this effect, heightened the excitement of the film, and the whole scene, the helicopter chasing the plane, and whether they should shoot it down or not. That to me, that was like great editing, very tense. And I actually like that whole middle part where they landed at that remote place, and then with Steve Buscemi and the kid and all that, because it was so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, like The Rock is great, but then The Rock has a certain kind of predictability. Here, you like, is he going to molest this kid or not? You never know, and you actually got kind of worried because he was known as this child molester, and then of course he saw this.
I thought he just killed a whole bunch of people. I don't remember.
And also killed a whole bunch of people. And to me, that's like a Western reference. Like
right.
Right, he's all bad Western villain who's killed a lot of folks and stuff. But that whole middle part is, to me, like came out of nowhere. To be able to just kind of stop the film in the middle and have that extended sequence in that kind of remote desert area. To me, it's just like a Western film.
Yeah.
But that whole and of course you have Dave Chappelle. I love how even when his body was falling down the sky, he was smiling. That was great. That was fantastic. That scene got a huge laugh from audience. But yeah, I mean, any nitpicks I have, about the film, like with the bunny stuff, and they were kind of really redeemed by the final 30 minutes of the film with just nonstop kinetic action. I mean, like, who doesn't want to see a plane crash in the Vegas Strip? Come on, I wanted to see it, and I saw it, and it pays off. In the action, you're anticipating this big climax, and it gave you that big climax at the end.
Yeah.
To me, it was a huge payoff. So yeah, definitely love this film. I really have very little bad things to say about it.
Nice. And after the plane crash, it wasn't done. You weren't done.
Exactly.
We got another action sequence for you folks.
Nice fade in violent deaths. And what more can you ask for? Yeah.
And then after Cyrus got knocked off of the fire truck, he teleported to a factory that was outside instantly, and got his head smashed. It's fun. Yeah. All right, Rick, go for it.
Well, whenever I go to a movie, I try not to have expectations, because as you guys have continually shown, when you go into a movie with expectations and those expectations are disappointed, you take it out on the film. Not necessarily the film's fault that you had the expectations in the first place. So I try not to. I just want something to be good or entertaining, but I'm also aware, as I mentioned, because of the experience I had when I was growing up, that had an effect on me in The Rock. In Con Air, I love it when they cast against type. Most of the time, I'm not wildly enamored of, that's why I was so happy about Michael Keaton in Tim Burton's Batman, because it's like, become Batman. Don't you weren't born 6'5", and 250 pounds of solid muscle. So here, when I saw Cusack, and I had seen Grosse Pointe Blank came out the same year as this, and so I already knew he was versatile. So I went, oh, then this is going to be interesting. That set the tone of the movie for me. It's not going to be The Rock. It's going to be The Rock with John Cusack in it. Which means cool. And then, and also not putting it past him, it's quite possible that he signed on to this movie so he could do research for Being John Malkovich, which he was in 2 years later with John Malkovich. So that was their reunion. So who knows? He might have been in this film. I'm going to study John Malkovich because I'm going to have to be him in this film that's coming up. He was also in Thin Red Line. He's in High Fidelity. This guy is a very versatile actor, and I thought again he was perfect. He was unexpected, and so was the movie. The thing I didn't like, however, is that having suffered pain in my childhood, having interviewed real criminals, I don't usually like it when a movie plays fast and loose with the villains. I'm not a villain fan. I'm a hero fan. So in this movie, I mean, these are heinous people. These are rapists and molesters. And by the way, the shot you're showing now was another thing I loved about the movie, because one of my least favorite visual cliches right out of Desperado are people walking away from explosions. Because having walked away from an explosion, I know it's very dangerous because there's shrapnel. No explode. I mean, most of these action movies, especially the 90s, their theory is if the flame doesn't touch you, you're fine. You could have the biggest explosion in the world behind you, but as long as the flame doesn't touch you, it won't have any effect on you whatsoever. And we know, of course, that's nonsense. So I like this explosion because Cyrus, who doesn't give a shit, I mean, he's suicidal to begin with. He's the one who keeps walking. Everybody else reacts like it's a real explosion. They're all going, oh. That's another sign that, again, I was sitting in the theater going, all right. I like these little touches. And the fact that, and also by the time we get to the rabbit, it's also a clue that nothing makes any difference anymore. I mean, it's not as bad as a video game movie like John Wick, where, all the characters are physiology-free video game characters who have no basis in reality. But in this one, not a lot of basis in reality from the outset. So the fact when they bring in the rabbit, it's kind of like they're telling me, oh, we know, and they're giving me the week, are you with us? And I'm going, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. You're not going to do that John F. Kennedy thing at the end, are you? And
that's a great shot too, though.
Yeah,
with the helicopter coming up, the whole audience just went wild when they saw the choppers behind him, coming up.
And also, this was the era for this kind of Die Hard on a movie, because this reminded me of close to Cliffhanger, which had one of the great overblown performances by John Lithgow as the villain. I mean, his reaction shots in Cliffhanger are just like astonishing in terms of how over the top they are, yet somehow still acceptable. And Malkovich was showing his skills. So again, this movie was very well timed for me, and I had I remember it with fondness, with great fondness, despite the fast and loose, because they were very aware of their fast and looseness, and they were having fun, which I joined in on. And they had all these awesome performers who were hit. Chappelle was a great casting. Everyone was hitting exactly the right tone.
Machete.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and him too. And the fact that Buscemi winds up. Normally, I would have been infuriated that Buscemi is shown playing in the casino at the end. And again, all his molestations and murders makes no difference. Oh, he's a lovable tyke. Normally that would infuriate me, but somehow it didn't in this movie. So I was pretty pleased.
All right, copy that. Frankie, finish the line. Finish the line, Frankie.
I think I already went, right?
Sigh.
Oh, wait, Cyrus the Virus, what?
Chaos, finish the line for me. Sigh. Finish the line.
Oh, sayonara. Sorry.
There you go.
Sorry. I was like, Cyrus the Virus. Sayonara.
It's fine.
Sorry, I should explode now. You should let me.
It's time to. We're getting close to
have the T-shirt.
I am sorry.
I know, man. This is tough. This is tough. But this is going to be interesting. So, but yeah, I don't care if it's fake. I like all different genres of action. You could have serious action thrillers like Sicario, that's realistic. You can have Die Hard. You can have over the top like Hard Boiled. You can have the cheesy comedic versions of action. I like all different versions of action. I accept them all as long as they're fun. As long as they're entertaining, I accept them all. And I don't care how fake I don't care how unrealistic this is in real life. This is one of the most badass action shots in action movie history.
Yep.
In action movie history. But let's go ahead and get to the vote. Frankie, who you got, son? The Rock or Con Air?
All right, I got it. I mean, I have
You
the shirt.
can't cheat and say face off.
Oh yeah, shit. Damn it! Fuck, that was my whole thing. I mean, I have the Con Air shirt, but I gotta, because without The Rock leading Nicolas Cage in that action thing, you need to have The Rock. And The Rock, I feel, is the more A movie, while the Con Air is the B movie, which a great B movie. Like fucking, this would be a great double feature. I'm just saying. So, but I'm gonna have to go with The Rock.
All right.
Final answer. I'm sorry.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Chaos. The Rock.
You know what? If this might make you feel better, Preston. I heard in an interview with Cusack, and he says he hates Con Air. He doesn't even want to talk about it. he hated his time on it. So maybe you were sensing that.
So maybe Rick is right. He was only there to study John Malkovich.
That's the whole plan. That's the whole goal.
You know, and I would have put for Con Air if he liked being on the set, but he didn't. So the fucking Rock for me. Masterpiece.
All right, we got The Rock and The Rock. Frank,
well, you know, I chose these two movies because I knew this is going to be a hard one to pick because they're both so great. You know, I like Frankie's analogy that, you know, The Rock is the A movie, Con Air is the B movie. I do feel, however, that as great as The Rock is, no question about it, Con Air just have this unpredictability that I really like, because you never know what's going to happen next. And you know, I've seen so many movies. It's hard to surprise me anymore. This movie, in many ways, sort of gave me that surprise that I was looking for, even back in the 90s. And like you know, Phat Samurai said, that shot of Nicolas Cage jumping off that fire truck, man. You know, all that repeated cut. You know, like again, that the way that all those action sequences, especially in the end, was edited together. I think it's masterful editing, and you know, all those explosion shots, all this stuff, the rhythm. To me, from a technical level, it was just a little bit better than like what Michael Bay did in The Rock. Of course, without Michael Bay, there wouldn't have been this film. But I just felt that Simon West took what he learned from The Rock and made it his own, made it a little better, and added all these unpredictable Western cult element in there. Great casting, Machete, Buscemi, Dave Chappelle. I mean, to me, it was just like the whole package. And so my vote goes to Con Air.
All right. Well said. Rick.
Yes. By all rights, now everyone watching and everyone here on the panel always knows that none of us, and well, I won't speak for anybody but myself. I'm not choosing what the better film is. I'm only telling you what I wound up liking more.
Yeah.
And I've already put it in perspective as to why I like it more. And that is Con Air.
All right. So it's up to the samurai. Okay, all I'm going to say is I enjoy both. I still do. And I haven't watched both of these in years. In a long time. Like a really, really long time. So rewatching them today, I already knew ahead of time. I was like, well, this is fun. I like both. But, you know, I pretty much am sure I know what I'm still going to pick at the end of the day. That changed. That changed for me. And as much as I love the other one, I just had more fun with the other one. So I know this is shocking because I don't even own this movie on Blu-ray because I have it on DVD. I enjoyed it enough to buy it on DVD, but I never upgraded. But this is shocking. I know. Here we go. Here we go, baby.
Shocking.
I know.
Shocking.
I know.
Obi-Wan dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's crazy because I was like, oh, this is tough, but most likely I'm gonna pick The Rock. I just had a blast with Con Air today. I was laughing, I was cracking up, everything was over the top. You know, I don't know. Now, just for shits and giggles, I already knew what the internet was going to vote for, but I promised to always include them, and let's see what the internet voted for. I'm not surprised.
Oh, close.
I'm not surprised the internet voted for The
Closer
Rock.
than usual. Yeah.
Closer than usual, yeah.
Yeah, 314 votes. All right, check that out. Yeah, so I'm not surprised, and it's all good. But as Bo says here, I already know which going to get the vote. All I got to say is sometimes polls get it wrong. Am I good? Am I good or what?
There's no wrong or right here. There's no wrong or right.
No.
Like or not like, or not like as much.
I know
You know,
both movies are great. Both movies are great. So
Yes.
but yeah, that I was very surprised by the end of it. I just couldn't stop smiling. The last half an hour, I couldn't stop smiling. I was just like, this is so over the top, and I'm just having a blast. But still have a lot of love for The Rock. All right. That's it for today's episode of Versus. Versus. Excuse me. I think I need some more water. Oh, you got both. Frank got both Blu-rays representing right now. And for some reason, I don't know why, Chaos, maybe you can help me out here. For some reason, Con Air is expensive on Blu-ray or hard to find.
Out of print.
I don't know why. Because I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed it so much. I'm like, hey, I'm going to upgrade, and
all the major companies are phasing out DVDs and Blu-rays. It's only
okay.
The 88 films in Eureka and Welco from now on, and Severin as well. The majors are going to phase out all their.
Okay.
It's like $10 on Amazon. Phat Samurai.
Is it? Because I looked today. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll double
just
check
type in Con Air Blu-ray. You'll find it.
Okay. Cool. All right. I'll have to upgrade, or maybe I'll wait for a 4K release. What is wrong with my throat?
Yeah, hopefully it's a mega edition.
Disney,
4K release. Get it while you can. That's what I just said.
Yeah, no,
that's true.
Disney doesn't plan to do 4K of catalog films.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. I'll have to double dip. It's all good, though, because I enjoyed the film. All right. Thank you, everyone. All you badasses for watching. Thank you for watching, liking, voting, throwing in your comments. That's right. Don't forget, An Hour to Kill. You can watch it for free. Check out your boy Frankie in it. That's right. Master Chaos, subscribe to him. That's right. Eureka, buy all of it. All of the stuff. Okay? Just call them up and say, I want everything. Boom. That's right. Make sure you follow Rick's podcast and buy his books as well. We're having a blast doing these, and I can't wait for next week's choice. So stay tuned for next week. Tomorrow, we may have a special guest here on the channel. FX artists and makeup and creature effects and special effects and all that stuff. Tom Devlin is going to be hanging out with it here tomorrow on the channel. So
he did my makeup in a horror movie.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, he might know me. I talked to him. For Instagram friends,
yeah, you guys go out, you hang out, you know.
Here and there.
But yeah, he's supposed to be on the channel tomorrow, so we'll see if he's free. We'll get him on here and talk movies and effects. And Frankie, if you want to join, you're welcome to join, my friend.
Oh,
let me know. Let me know. We'll talk later.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. See you guys next time. Keep voting. Keep watching movies. Keep being badasses. You guys take care.
Sayonara.
And put the bunny back in the box.
Don't do that.